Hi, and welcome once again. Welcome to this session of human resource management in the public sector. We're now looking at strategic human resource planning. Okay, so we're going to run through as fast as we can, and so that we can cover as much ground as we can. In our afternoon session, we're going to look at just key points, like in terms of okay, composition incentives, we just start from key points. And then the future human resource, labor relations, just key points. And then the rest of the notes will happen, so that's well and good. The foundation is the most critical part because everything else just goes out into details into whatever we discuss in the research chapters. Okay, so we also briefly look at employee benefits and benefit administration, and then also look at training and development, and then performance management and the present, and then recruitment and selection of employees. Okay, so what is strategic human resource planning? Okay, strategic human resource management is an approach to the development and implementation of human resource strategies that are integrated in organizational strategies and support their achievement. Sorry. Okay. So strategy is about approaches on how to achieve a specific aim in the near future. So human resource function today continues to play an increasingly visible role in the strategic planning and management process. I think we, in our previous lecture today, we actually looked at the human resource management process. And then strategic planning is also explained to be the process of documenting and establishing a direction of the organization by assessing both where you are and where you're going. So it's about looking into the current and equally in the past to ascertain how you're going to change certain things and what you're going to get to in the near future. So the strategic plan gives you a place to record your mission, vision, values, as well as your long-term goals and action plans you use to reach them. Okay, so a well-written strategic plan can play a pivotal role in organizations' growth, success, because it tells you and your employees how best to respond to opportunities and challenges. So it's like a graph, it's a pathway, a leeway. It's more like a map of how to get to where you're going. Take for example, like you've gone tracking or treasure hunting. You find when you go for such activities, you're supposed to have an actual map, like which is supposed to guide you in terms of where you're going to actually find that treasure hidden. Or if in terms of direction, you'll be guided in terms of what route you're supposed to take. So it's in a way that's what a strategic plan is to an organization. It's a guide. It's a clear path of directions and guidelines, and in the direction of and the essence of an organization. It's more like the policies, the practices, the activities that are put forth to ensure that you get to the aim or the target destination of the organization. Okay, so human resource function requires a new level of skill and competency among human resource professionals. So the human resource managers must develop measurable strategies that convincingly showcase the impact of human resource on business performance. Human resource managers have adopted a perspective that focuses on how the departments can play a central role in implementing strategy. In this chapter, we will look closely at how managers formulate and implement such plans and how they analyze and evaluate their results. And then we'll also start with some basic planning related definitions. So benefits of strategic planning. What does a company and organization stand to gain? from strategic planning. So the strategic planning process can take some time, but it's beneficial for everyone involved. The organization will have a better idea of the goals and objectives you want to accomplish and the path you want to do that. So just like I explained, in terms of guidance and in terms of the pathway to get to the next point that you want to get to. So for your employees, the process can foster an increase in productivity and contributing to the success of the organization. So in terms of strategic planning, there's what is termed the hierarchy of goals, and then also the strategic planning itself. So strategic planning is important because in a well-run organization, the goals come from the top of the organization downward. So it's a top-down arrangement where top management makes the plans and then they trickle down to the rest of the organization, the rest of the institution, up to the very the lowest employee in the lowest workforce in the institution. So the process forms a hierarchy of goals. These goals in turn should guide everyone in the organization what to do. So in terms of guidance, every particular employee of that organization is catered for. They have a projection, they have a get to point. It's like every department, every person, every key person, every person who's a member of that organization has a role to play in this strategic planning process. So a strategic plan is the company's plan for how to match its internal strengths and weaknesses with external opportunities and threats. More like a SWOT analysis in cooperation. So a successful strategic plan helps ensure a competitive advantage. The minute that you have a strategic plan which is good, which is efficient, you're able to actually be better than you were before, and then also be better than your other competitors in the same sector, in the same in the same range. So it's a positive aspect actually. So now we'll look at the 7 steps that are involved in the strategic planning process. The first one is there's need to define what your organization or your business is about. And then the second one is that you're supposed to have audits. And then the third one is new directions. And fourth, strategic goals. Fifth is formulate strategies. And then 6, implement. And then 7, evaluate. So let's get a bit into details in terms of what each stage entails. Okay, so the first stage, which is the definition stage, this is a logical place to start by defining what your organization is about. What is the mission statement of the organization? What is your aim? What products do you sell? What service do you provide? And then what are your other competitors in the same sector offering? So you have to have all that information at hand for you to know how you're going to proceed. Okay, and then the second one is to perform internal and external audits. So you have to ask what is currently transpiring in your organization, and then also you look at the outside environment. You try to compare and see where you're at, where you were before, so that you can project what you need to get to in the near future. So, and then the next one is that you need to formulate a new direction. The question now is, what should our new aim objectives be? So these are, you translate the mission into goals. That's the thing. So you translate the mission maybe a mission statement or a mission objective that you put across into strategic objectives. So basically, an example I can give of this one is, say, you're running an institution, like an education institution, and then now we realize to say, with the other institutions that are actually operating, like you're running a university, private university, they're actually offering courses that are now like on the market, that are on demand. So you decide to diversify and say, okay, can we bring in another faculty, another school or another school that will cater for these other courses and expand in terms of our provision and in terms of our student base. So that way, when you're coming up with that, you need now to like put measures in place of how you're going to achieve this new directive, what's this direction that you're taking, directive M, or an objective that you've come up with. It could be like in the health sector, like if you're coming up with an improved health provision, maybe you're now having to conduct surgeries and your hospital was only probably dealing with basic treatments and then making referral to other bigger institutions. Now you decide to bring in experts that are able to what's this, operate on patients having specific complications. So that is like a new direction that your institution or your establishment is probably taking up. And then you have the third one being formulate strategies to achieve the strategic goal. So the manager chooses courses of action that will enable the company to achieve the strategic goals. And then you equally implement the strategy, you put it into practice. So strategy execution means translating the strategies into action and trying to hack them. Evaluate performance. So things don't always run out as planned. Don't always turn out as planned, sorry. The strategy is, so evaluate the performance. You see how did you perform, how you go through a postmortem to see where you went wrong in case something didn't go right like before. So once you do an evaluation, it's able to help you establish where the problem was and actually pick on the weak points and try to build on that. And then at this point, the strategies are tested against reality. And then if the changes are needed, the entire process may be repeated from an earlier step. So it depends what recommendation are reached. And then there's the aspect of, sorry, let me just okay, so you implement and then lastly you evaluate. That's the last point that we looked at. And then, so basically, strategic planning is important because of the impact that it has on an organization. And then also, it helps in terms of goal setting, which allows managers to connect the dots between where things are now and where they can be. So it's always important to have a projection for tomorrow, not always just live for the moment, because a lot of things happen and you have to be prepared whatever comes so that you can see how you can best get to the next step in terms of improving on productivity, in terms of organizational success. And then finally, these 7 steps that I've just briefly mentioned in the planning process provide a rigorous mechanism to manage the process of in a systematic manner. So sorry, yeah, the strategic planning process helps in terms of aligning what exactly is supposed to be done in the planning process. So it puts things into perspective. So it's a positive aspect to actually associate with. Okay, so now I think we'll take just a minute break so that we can get to the next. We can get to the next. We can get to the next topic, which is the next topic is environmental screening. Okay, so we'll get to that.